If your diet meals look like a tiny bird portion, no wonder you are failing by Wednesday. Because let's stop pretending that surviving on a pathetic plate of rabbit food is a sustainable way to reshape your physical architecture. You decide to start a transformation, and your immediate instinct is to cut your portions down until dinner looks like a set garnish. You sit at your kitchen table staring down at a microscopic serving of chicken and a miserable tablespoon of rice, feeling your stomach growl. And by the time midweek rolls around, your willpower is entirely depleted, your brain is throwing a tantrum, and you find yourself face first in donuts. The fatal flaw in your strategy isn't a lack of discipline. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of food volume versus calorie density. Your stomach does not possess internal eyes to count the calories passing through your throat, nor does it read nutritional labels. It relies entirely on mechanical stretch receptors lining your stomach walls to send a signal to your brain that says you are full. And if you don't physically fill that biological pouch with physical mass, those receptors will keep screaming for fuel until you give in. So let us look at the absolute mathematical comedy of a tiny handful of nuts compared to a massive mountain-sized volume meal. You grab a casual handful of almonds, I'm allergic to them so I won't, assuming it's a healthy, innocent snack to keep you going through a stressful afternoon. That tiny concentrated handful can easily pack over 300 calories of dense fats without doing a single thing to stretch your stomach. You swallow them in less than 60 seconds and 2 minutes later, your brain is still demanding a full meal because you feel empty. And now, contrast that pathetic little handful with a giant, borderline ridiculous bowl filled to the brim with broccoli, greens, potatoes, and lean protein. You can pile that massive ceramic bowl high with voluminous vegetables, zucchini noodles, or potatoes, and clean chicken breast for the same caloric budget. You sit there chewing for 20 minutes, physically exhausting your jaw while stuffing your digestive system with fiber and water. Your stomach is physically distended from the sheer mass of the food, forcing those stretch receptors to fire off a wave of satiety to your brain. And you finish that giant feast feeling absolutely stuffed, entirely satisfied, and yet you are still sitting inside a strict calorie deficit. And this is the profound magic of volume eating, and it is the ultimate cheat code for anyone currently fighting the fat loss battle. So instead of constantly fighting your primal biology with willpower, you are actively outsmarting your evolutionary programming. You just trade calorie-dense landmines like greasy chips, heavy sauces, and processed treats for high-volume, low-energy nutrient powerhouses. So stop choosing foods that deliver maximum caloric energy in a microscopic physical package that leaves you perpetually starving. Fill your plate with massive salads, giant stir-fries, and endless mountains of green vegetables that allow you to enjoy the physical act of eating. Because you don't have to starve yourself to lose fat. That's not what I'm doing. You just have to be, strict about it. I just replace pasta and most of the time even rice with potatoes because they are less calorie dense. And that's the point. A lot of volume, little calories. That's the secret. You drop the weight, but when you look down, your mind still sees the exact same person. And you don't even only have to look down, it's the same with a mirror. And you know that I'm right here in the middle of this process with you, experiencing the exact same frustration, mental disconnect every single day. Nobody prepares you for the absolute psychological whiplash that comes when your physical body transforms faster than your brain can comprehend. You spent months executing your daily discipline, melting away the physical layers that used to protect you from the world, expecting to feel instant liberation. But one morning you catch a sudden glimpse of your reflection in a store window and your heart immediately takes a strange and uncomfortable plunge there. Comfortable, as I would say it with a German slang, it's a really difficult English word to pronounce correctly for us, by the way. But your brain instantly overlays the phantom image of your old self onto the glass, completely refusing to acknowledge the progress you have actually made. And that's a deeply unsettling form of mental blindness where the eyes look at reality, but the internal programming still projects past insecurities. You put on your favorite old t-shirt, and instead of feeling proud that it hangs off your frame like a massive tent, you feel incredibly exposed and small. And you walk into a clothing store needing smaller gear, and your hand automatically reaches for the absolute largest size on the rack out of pure instinct. And I had this yesterday once again. I needed another polo shirt, and I liked the one I bought before, but I need more in the weather we have now. And I really even didn't save it all up here because I had to ask an employee there, could you have a quick look what size this polo shirt is? Because I want to get another one in a different color, because I didn't even remember the smaller size. And I even had the wrong size in my hand at that moment, because I got down from 3XL with this brand, in this case, to L, but I had an XL in my hand because I didn't even realize from that brand I have to buy L now, large. And standing in the dressing room, you look at the medium or large tag and feel like an absolute fraud, convinced there is no physical way your body fits inside it. There you see the programming on myself yesterday. And when the fabric actually slides on perfectly without stretching, or just minor stretching, but I'm not buying something today where I have to buy something new in 2 weeks. But there's a wave of profound confusion that washes over you instead of a sense of victory. Your identity has been so deeply tied to being the biggest person in the room for so long that letting go of that and of that armor feels terrifying. And that old weight wasn't just physical tissue. It was a psychological shield you built to navigate a world that often judges people based on their size. And when that shield disappears, your mind feels entirely unprotected, forcing you to confront the emotional vulnerabilities you buried underneath the weight. And this cognitive lack is completely normal, and it's a structural part of a deep health journey that nobody ever talks about on social media fitness pages. Your neural pathways have spent years mapping a specific physical volume in space, and they require immense time to recalibrate to your new dimensions. You are trying to learn how to inhabit a completely new house while your mind keeps trying to navigate the hallway layout of your old home. And to cope with this distortion, you have to stop relying entirely on your subjective side and look at objective markers of reality. Trust the hard data of your measurements, the falling numbers on your tracking app, and the simple truth of how your belt buckles lock. And even take progress photos, even when you absolutely hate looking at them, because side-by-side evidence is the only thing that silences a lying mind. And be incredibly gentle with yourself during this mental transition, realizing that healing your relationship with your reflection takes just as much time as the deficit.